Alrighty, here we are, 2 o'clock, 2 minutes shy of 2 o'clock on Saturday, July 18th. Thank you for joining. I had to push this another 30 minutes. Originally, this was set for 1:30, but you know, it's a Saturday, so trying to get things going. I want to explain a little bit further what I will be discussing today. And this will be primarily the astrological signs, their decans related to the tarot. Now, I'm not going to do everything in this one video. That's very exhaustive. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this video down into parts. And this video will be, today we're going to do the court cards. We're going to focus on the court cards. And then we're going to focus on the minor arcana. There's suits, so we're going to do the minor arcana, the aces through the tens. And again, this is the astrological signs and their decans. And then I'm going to end it with the major arcana. So I'm going backwards with this. And I thought to start with the court cards for this series, because the court cards in the tarot, for some reason, it tends to be a little conflicting with people who are new to the tarot, or they've been away from the tarot for some amount of time and they've gotten back into it. It's I came across someone talking about the court cards and why is it always so difficult and whatnot. And I think basically what it is it's not really difficult. It's just that there's more information that's culminating in the court cards, from the journey of the Fool to, you know, the major arcana. And then we go into all the suits and the journey that the Fool goes through in those suits. So basically, the way I interpret the court cards is that it's a culmination of everything. Major arcana, the archetypes that come from that system, and then the suit that the court card rules. So if it's like the Page of Cups, the experience that came through in the suit of the cups. But what's different is it's broken into an actual being. It could be us. It could be someone that we work with. It could be friends. It could also be attributes of these people in the court cards. So I'm not gonna go too much into what the court cards mean. I'll do a brief overview, but for the most part, I wanted to infuse something different for people who are exploring astrology and they want to bring that into the tarot. I'm not an astrologer. I have to emphasize that. I'm not an astrologer. I love some of the aspects of astrology. I'm careful as I say that, because I use the word aspects and I can't quite follow all the aspects in the transits. So I keep it very simple when I do my readings. So I basically keep it so that it's, for astrology, the houses, their signs, and their planets. And the position that they are in relation to the card, the decans. If I'm doing a reading, I feel it's of great importance, I will bring that to the forefront and explain it in the reading and in my interpretation to my client, or to myself, you know, if I'm doing the reading for myself. So I'll have to repeat myself a few times as people hopefully start joining in. If you have a tarot deck with you that's of the Rider-Waite-Smith system, have that standing by. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm going to show you cards. I already have the 2 decks that I'm going to be working with during this event. So what I'm going to do is to keep it really simple. I do have the Rider-Waite-Smith, and then what I wanted to do was I have decks that kind of go into their own systems or their own interpretations. And I was looking at these and I was thinking, you know what? as much as I love a lot of these decks, some of these decks may be a little bit difficult to explain the decans and the signs and the relationship in the arcanas. So what I decided to do is just keep it with the Rider-Waite-Smith, and the deck that I'm going to be using, it's traditional, but it's a modern deck. It's a contemporary deck. It's the Pagan of the Worlds. So I thought that deck would be really nice to bring a comparison, not even a contrast, but just something to compare it with the old way of the Rider-Waite-Smith, and also the influence of the Rider-Waite-Smith, but done through the Pagan of the Worlds. So we're going to start with the pages, and I'm not going to do page, knight, king, queen. I'm just going to do pages. We're going to go through their elements, and then I'm going to go into the next court card, knight, and then king, and then queen. I'm going to do it the other way around. And so what I like is, as you're watching this, and since I'm live right now, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. But as I want to keep the flow going to explain the decans, and also want to get feedback from you, I'll answer questions probably halfway into the court cards. So probably once I'm at the knight going into the king, if there's any questions, I'll take a break and answer some of those. If not, I'm just going to keep going. Right, so let me get a drink of water here before we get going. Alrighty. Okay, so let me do a brief breakdown of the decans. The decans are basically broken up into 10, 20, 30-degree positions, and they are broken up throughout a certain time frame. So for the pages, I'm going to do the Page of Wands, and I'll explain it a little bit more. I just want to give like a sentence explanation and then walk through it with the cards. So we're going to do the pages again, and then we're going to do it through elements, and then we do the knights, kings, and queens. So to keep it simple here, here's our Page of Wands. The Page of Wands rules fire. The page is an individual who is the initiator, getting ready to set things in motion. I can almost say it's the ace of the court cards. In this case, it's someone who tends to be, it's classified as someone who's young and is beginning on a journey. So here we have the Page of Wands. Now, the Page of Wands, I do have reference notes here, so I will have to tilt my head down for reminder notes. So for our Page of Wands, the pages, they rule seasons. So our pages of Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles, they all rule season, similar to the aces. The aces in the tarot rule certain times of the year, also based on their element, Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. So for the Page of Wands, what's interesting here is you would feel, and this is up to interpretation. You can do a season where for the Page of Wands, it rules from, let's see here, I have here June 21st, which is the sign of Cancer, and also the summer solstice, either the 21st or the 22nd. So, and going all the way to September 22nd, which is the start of autumn and fall. So that's one way of acknowledging the season for the Page of Wands. The Ace of Wands, I think, is similar, but I think with the Ace of Wands, they focus more on the fire signs. So Ace of Wands could represent the season of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And those are 3 seasons that we'll be exploring. So Aries would be spring, Leo would be the summer, and then Sagittarius could be winter. That's the way I would see it. And so, but for the pages, I don't want to go on a tangent because that'll be a separate video when they go into the major arcana or the minor arcana. So for the Page of Wands, this is through the Golden Dawn correspondences. Golden Dawn uses their correspondences in the Thoth tarot. And when you have the Thoth and you're working with the Thoth, you will see correspondences and books related to their planets, their signs, with each card. That's what I'm doing here, but there's going to be some differences from it because some of the interpretations I feel with the Golden Dawn don't fit very well with the Rider-Waite-Smith or with all of the cards. So in a situation like that, when you're working with the decans and the astrological signs and their elements, you kind of have to almost make your own interpretation. So with this video, I just want to give a general guide as to how the decans and the signs relate to each other. So again, here, the decans for the Page of Wands is from June 21st and going all the way to September 22nd. So this is basically ruling the months of summer. Again, as I mentioned, you could associate the Page of Wands with the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, but I would keep that more for the aces. This I'd like to stick to the season that we have here, Page of Wands, ruling summer. And I will show you a Pagan Otherworlds, which is right here. And very similar with Wands, we're starting to see the energy. Wands is staff to thrust forth energy. You use it to incarnate energy and movement, even in your magic practice or witchcraft. We have tools that are used in metaphysical practices which involve the 4 elements. The athame, which could be the sword, pentacle, relating to earth, the goblet, which is related to cups, and then there's usually a stick of some sort to emphasize the wand. So here we are for the season of the summer, Page of Wands. And you see the cloak here. Here is the Page of Wands. You see, it seems like a lion skin wrapped around a person. Okay, so again, Page of Wands rules from the start of summer, the summer solstice, and goes all the way to Mabon, the autumn equinox, which is September 22nd, 21st, depending how the placement of where the sun is each year. All right, so next we're going to do the Page of Cups. Ruled by water. Okay, so Page of Cups. Okay, very similar. Page of Cups What season do you feel with the Page of Cups rule? So we're doing this in order. So as I go through the pages and the knights, kings, and queens, we're going to see a pattern happening with the decans. Okay, Page of Cups. Cups rule the astrological water signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And we're going to be in a new moon in Pisces. Oh, I'm sorry, new moon in Cancer on Monday. So we're waning towards that. So we're wrapping up our energy right now for the season of Cancer and water. And we're going to be moving into the fire sign of Leo come next Tuesday. So energy is going to be shifting. Watch how things are happening within yourself and the environment around us, and see how the energy is shifting. We've just spent June, July, from the summer solstice to July 20th in the sign of Cancer, water, nurturing, emotional, healing, intuitive, psychic, dreamy, illusionary. It's a time to just to really feel about how things are going, and just creating that awareness. So to move into Leo, that awareness, all that work that we've been doing is going to be shifting, and it's going to be a time to explore and also express yourself with how you've been doing things in the time of the Cancer season. So with the Page of Cups, the season that it rules, we're going into the season of fall. So we're going to go September 23rd all the way to, it's actually 3 seasons. We're going to go from fall into our winter solstice. So each page, elemental-wise, we're going through a season. Okay, so Page of Wands would be our summer. Page of Cups would be our fall. And then our Page of Swords would go into our winter, into spring. So the line's going to be changing here, so it may blow me out. So I apologize for that. So for the Page of Cups, September 23rd, going right into November 22nd. So sort of working through Libra, Scorpio, primarily. I'm looking here the way this chart's broken up. Yeah, Libra and Scorpio for our for our Page of Cups. Okay, so again, that's September 23rd to November 22nd. And each of these, as I go through the court cards, the court cards will fall into the decans. It's kind of hard to explain. The decans start off with a wide spectrum of association. So we go seasonal. And then from seasonal, we start going into months. And then months, we go into weeks. And the weeks is when we'll start seeing it more in the minor arcana, when we go from the aces to the tens. But with the Page of Cups, we are going primarily from fall, autumn equinox, September 23rd or 22nd, and going into November 22nd. So we'll be working with the energy of Libra and Scorpio. That's for the Golden Dawn. Now, this is again what I was saying with the Page of Wands. Okay, so we have cups, which are the water signs, you could interpret the time frame that I just mentioned, the fall season, for like the Page of Cups. You could interpret it for that fall season. Again, this is the Golden Dawns association for the Page of Cups. Or you can relate it to the months of the water signs. So you can have Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces to rule those particular time frames. You want to use the Page of Cups to associate with Cancer, go ahead and do so. I also have the other court cards. They will also fall into place with the other astrological signs. So when we go into the Knight, King, Queen, and their elements, they're going to also fill in the other astrological signs of their elements as well. But here, this just represents the time frame, the season. So you can use it for the fall season, or you can use it for the months of the water signs. Again, it's Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. So, yeah, I want to keep this in order. Ooh, this lighting. So next, we're going to do this is what I need to do. 1 second. Much better. Almost. So the next element that we're going to discuss for the decans and astrology is going to be, so in the pages, we're still going to do swords. So we have our page of swords. Our swords are all about thought, conflict, challenges within the mind, but also movement, swift thinking, keeping yourself on your toes mentally, intellectually. And here we have the swords, Page of Swords. They're very similar. You have the crows in the background, the birds in the background to emphasize thought and intellect. And Page of Swords is just getting down and cutting through distractions just to find truth, honesty. So with our Page of Swords, our astrological signs for the swords are earth signs. And that's going to be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And each of the signs, they all have their own attributes. They're cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And the difference with those is that cardinal signs are the initiators. They are the beginnings of things. And cardinal signs usher in the new season. Aquarius ushers in spring, Cancer ushers in summer, and Sagittarius brings in winter months. And then the other signs follow suit. So with mutable, let's do fixed. We're doing the order. Fixed are signs that are of stability. They're very set in their ways, and they have a different perspective on accomplishing things. They're determined in their own ways. So with our What's my Page of Swords? Here we go. Oh, Page of Swords. Page of Swords for the Golden Dawn. They relate in the season of, in our new year, basically, January 10th. Oh, I'm sorry, December 22nd, going all the way to March 20th. So we're looking at 3 months or 4 months of season according to the Golden Dawn. So the Golden Dawn basically has the Page of Swords, the season running right from winter, going right into the early start of spring. Okay. And as I mentioned, this is the Golden Dawn. If you follow their attributes, the chart, and I even have a breakdown of this on my website. I will share a link for that, and you can get detailed information about the astrological decans and their signs in relation to the tarot, from the major, minor, arcana, and the court cards. So to go back, if we want to follow or compare the Golden Dawn attributes for the decans for the Page of Swords, it's December 22nd to March 20th. So we're going through the season. It's really the winter months. Okay. And as I mentioned, swords are air signs: Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Me personally, when it comes to the tarot, of the Rider-Waite-Smith system, if we want to use these cards, Page of Swords, to represent the beginnings for like Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, feel free to do so. When it comes to astrology and the tarot, there's going to be different interpretations. That's the thing. So what I want to do here is I want to break down the different attributes, understanding from the Golden Dawn system, the way that they see it and how they have it broken down. And then relate it to outside the Thoth, because the Golden Dawn is set up almost directly for the category of the philosophy, and specifically with the tarot. When you have this, in general, the Golden Dawn Association in relation to the tarot, it gets a little bit confusing because, as I mentioned, the aces represent seasons throughout the year, but the way the Golden Dawn sees their seasons is different. So when you relate that to the tarot, it could be confusing. As I was showing here, the Page of Swords represents the winter season. A Page of Cups represents the fall. And then our Page of Wands, which makes sense, represents summer. The signs incorporates all the signs during their seasons instead of specifically the signs associated with that element. So it's a little different, so I just kind of want to make it so that, it's something that you have a variety of choices to work with. So I'm ignoring the lighting, so I'm hoping all this can be seen properly. Okay. So last, in the pages, we have Page of Pentacles. I think I might have to pull my chair down. Here we go. It's just the lights bouncing off right now. Let's see. Okay, this is folding over, oops, just folding over my tablecloth. Much better, except now I look a little bit on the wrong side. So, Page of Pentacles, same rule of thumb. It rules the season, but it rules the season of spring. So it starts March 21st, or 22nd, or 20th. Again, it changes every few years. The placement of the sun for when our seasons are going to start. It's every 2 years. It stays like the same date, and then on the second year or the third year, it moves into it either backs to its other date, the 20th, or it goes to the 21st. So for the Golden Dawn, I'm starting these all with the Golden Dawn. For them, we have Page of Pentacles, sides. This is Pagan Otherworlds deck, in case you are wondering. And here is the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's a Page of Pentacles. So for the Golden Dawn, it's spring going into the beginnings of summer, which can work with Pentacles because it's a time of creating abundance. You start moving all that energy towards building something of value. So we have March 21st to June 20th. So it's basically spring. Don't get too close. To represent the Page of Pentacles. Okay. And again, Page of Pentacles are ruled by the Earth sign. So Page of Pentacles can actually represent, like I said, it's season, but it incorporates Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And those go through their seasons. So if you want to use the Page of Pentacles, again, pages represent seasons. You could relate it to the astrological sign that it is related to. The Page of Pentacles for Taurus, Virgo, or these are the months, or Capricorn. As you'll see as we go into the night, King and Queen, within their elements, these specific signs of that season, the astrological signs would fall specifically into that core part. But I'm using this loosely for the Page of Pentacles so that there's a bit of an understanding, and you also have a choice. You could do this seasonal. Like I said, Page of Pentacles is relating to spring season. Page of Swords, we're going back now, go through spring. Page of Swords represents winter, according to the Golden Dawn. Page of Cups represents fall season. And Page of Wands relating to summer. So, let's go ahead. We're going to move into the Knight of Wands. And we're going to see what I'm going to say, how these will relate. I'm going to fill this up in a minute. It's very warm where I'm at. Okay. So, for Knight of Wands, I'm going to show you this chart that I'm using. It's a pie chart. It's broken up into seasons and elements, the coloring of the coloration of the signs. As you can see, this is fire, yellow swords, blues, cups, and white green is related to the earth signs. But this chart that I have is related to the Golden Dawn. When I posted on Instagram, I'll probably refer to this. Let's see here. These are broken down into the arcanas, but specifically the astrological signs and not decans. This is more related to signs and the suits and their relationship. I will bring this into the picture when we go into the next video to discuss the minor arcanas. But again, I want to focus on the decans specifically, but I want to use this as a reference. It's kind of hard to explain a color corresponding chart when it comes to the tarot because it crosses over into different signs and it's kind of hard to explain as opposed to seeing it. All right, so let's move along. We have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands. Knights indicate movement, set intentions, focus, your drive to what you want to accomplish. It's the energy. Okay, just the beginnings of, and the initiating. The Knight is that drive to get things moving. So with the Knight of Wands, chart's going to get a little bit more narrow. Make sure I'm going the right direction. Here we go. No, we don't go. Okay. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. But the Knight of Wands, as I said, represents movement, energy, emotion, a drive towards something. It rules the signs, the fire. So Knight of Wands. So again, the only thing that changes in the court cards are the court personalities and their relationship to their elements. So they have Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, but the relationship now changes based on the person. Okay, so again, the Knight is someone who likes to get things moving. So with the Knight of Wands, okay, try and write this down, and they have to go back and I'll time stamp this so that it makes sense if anyone wants to go back to write down dates, notes, at least they'll have it by suits. So I'll do a timestamp, pages, notes, kings, and queens, and then you can have a reference to it. So for our Knight of Wands, the decans, okay, as I mentioned, the decans represent 10, 20 day degree relationships of the sign and its planet. So for our Knight of Wands, we are crossing from November 13th, which is Scorpio, same Scorpio, into December 12th. So we're going from Scorpio, but primarily rules Sagittarius. When I go into the minor arcana, we're going to see this breakdown even more specific. The decans go, like I said, in weeks and months. So we'll be able to see the breakdown as we go specifically into the minor arcana and we focus on each element in relation to the timing of the decan. So again, for Knight of Wands, so since our sun's running, so Knight of Wands is the pig in other words done. Represents November 13th. This is the Golden Dawn date attributes. November 13th to December 12th. So it's a month, but it covers primarily Sagittarius. So the Knight of Wands is of Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius, as we know, are explorers. They are free-spirited, action-loving people. They love to explore. They love to explore, but they have such a drive and energy. They like, during their journeys, they're always learning, and they love different situations. They love that adventure. And this is what we have for the Knight of Wands. And again, the date for the Knight of Wands is November 13th, all the way through December 12th. And this will be broken down when we get to the Minor Arcana. Minor Arcana video is going to be very long. I'm going to have to break that into 2 parts as well. This here. So, as I mentioned, the pages represent seasons. So now, as we go into the nights, we're going to start seeing the elements being more personified by a specific astrological sign. So with the Knight of Wands, and following those dates of November 13th to December 12th, it starts in Sun of Scorpio, but it falls primarily into Sagittarius with the 8 and 9 of Wands in the Minor. So we have the Knight of Cups. We're going in opposite directions. Interesting. So we see the cups. Cups are ruled by emotions, intuition, our feelings. And for the most part, if you look at the Rider-Waite-Smith deck here, all the cups are empty. In the court cards for the cups, they're empty. But when we get into the actual suits of the cups, we see various states of cups, whether they're filled entirely or they're spilled or they're empty. If they're resting near water, if they're on land or in water. It shows the relationship, the difference with the cups. So Knights, the Knight of Cups, there's something here that I want to share as well. It's a person who listens to their heart. They tend to be more on the romantic side, a little bit softer. They move a little slower with things. They're following their heart first, not their mind. And also look at the energy of these cards too. Look at the Knights, the placement of, let's see here. Look at the energy that we have here. This one is just active. It is ready. It's ready to take action here. It's sort of taking its time. It's pacing itself, the Knight of Cups. So with the Knight of Cups, again, we think the season for Knight of Cups would be somewhere along the lines Cancer, summer. So we feel this would be Scorpio. But remember, as I was saying, as we go through the elements, we're going to see a pattern. So, with our Knight of Wands, we went Sagittarius. Our Knight of Cups will now fall into the next water sign, which is Pisces. And that rules the first part of, or the latter part of Aquarius. So it starts, let's see, January 20th, and it goes all the way to March 10th. So it's still ruling, it's ruling late winter, early spring. And again, that's the Knight of Cups from January 20th, going all the way to March 20th. So it falls into a little bit of Aquarius thinking, the tail end of it, but it primarily runs through Pisces to March 10th. And with Pisces, we see a lot of dream, illusionary, daydreaming. It's also a creative time. Pisces are also one of the more creative people that are out there. And to be lost in dreams, I mean, there's some Pisces creative folks that a lot of their creativity comes from dreams. You know, they have vivid imaginations, and some of the work that you see is just like, wow, this is pretty far out. But it's also very emotional. It comes from the heart. It moves you when you see the work of someone who is of a Pisces influence, especially if they're in the creative field. It's pretty incredible. So the Decan for the Knight of Cups. This is probably This is probably the third Decan. The first Decan tends to rule, as I mentioned, rules the first 10 degrees. So it tends to be in between months, astrological months. So like for Cancer, the Decan for Cancer would be 0 to 10 degrees. And then as we go into the middle of July, it goes from 10 to 20 degrees. And that tends to be, like I said, like the first week of July. 20, 30 degrees we start going into our third into the fourth week of that astrological sign. And that goes 20 to 30 degrees. You have to use a chart for the most part to kind of follow this, because sometimes, as I mentioned, here for the Knight of Cups, we're hitting the tail end of Aquarius. Okay. Again, the date for the Knight of Cups, according to Golden Dawn, is January 20th to March 20th. So from January 20th to the 29th, Aquarius rules, but then but as we go into Pisces, it goes February 19th to the 28th or 29th, all the way to March 20th. And that primarily rules Pisces. So the Knight of Cups, as the primary ruling court card, is Pisces. Next is Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is actually my Decan card. And you can find out your own Decan card based on your birth date. If you go online, and I'll put down one or two websites, knowing the date of your birth date, you can find out which tarot card is your Astrological Decan card. Mine's actually the Knight of Swords. And now look at the energy, the horses. Very fast. Swords, again, relate to the mind, the thought, the movement, the urgency also of getting down to, the core of things, understanding, knowledge, truth, intellect. These are the Knight of Swords. And the Decan for the Knight of Swords falls again. We're at the tail end. We're at the 23rd degree of Taurus, which is March 11th to the 20th. This is the Decan for the Knight of Swords. Put this up. So as I'm reading this, you will follow. From March 11th to June 10th. So it represents the 23rd degree point, the Decan for Taurus, but it primarily rules Gemini. It's the swords, it's involving the mind and thinking. So it primarily rules March 21st to June 10th. Those are the Decans for Gemini. And the last Decan of Taurus, 20 to 30 degrees, May 11th to the 20th. So this is the Decan for the Knight of Swords, May 11th, all the way down to June 10th. This card primarily falls in line with the Decans of Gemini, because it rules 10 to 30 degrees of it. And again, I'll have the link for the charts, so you can at least follow through with the tarot in relation to the Decans. Alright, we saw last night, we're halfway into our suits, do a Knight of Pentacles. Alright, our Knight of Pentacles. I have to look at a chart because this is something that's not very easy to memorize unless you are a practicing astrologer. As you notice from what I've been discussing, there are so many variables based on the timing of the decans in relation to our astrological, or relation to our birth cards. So for our Knight of Pentacles, I'll show you these two. Again, this is creating steps, different energy there. I just want to point this out. The Knight of Pentacles is showing the stance, a horse rearing back. And here we have the Knight of Pentacles with the Rider-Waite Smith, which is more of stability and foundation, holding that pentacle. The Knight of Pentacles basically is just to begin those steps and to harness what you've been working on. and continue on with it. It's okay to rest, but you need to keep that energy going. You cannot be stagnant. You have to be determined and set to get those intentions that you have, those goals that you have completed. This is with the Knight of Pentacles. So a Knight of Pentacles is, we're going into March. It is, for Golden Dawn, it falls into the 23rd degree in Leo, which is August 11th. It goes all the way to September 11th, to Virgo. Because again, the positioning, it's these two cards. They start at the 23rd degree of Leo, the Decan, and that's August 11th to the 22nd. That's the 20-30 degree aspect of Leo. And then it goes from August 11th all the way to September 22nd, which falls in line with Virgo. So the Knight of Pentacles, Decan-wise, is of Virgo. And represents, again, the energy of being steadfast and determined in attaining their goals. It's not a time to take a break or anything. Virgo rules getting things perfect. Cross the T's, dot the I's. It's very detailed. So it's a time of where Virgos are analytical to really put careful thought into what you've been doing so far, and what you've been creating. I can almost say it's a time of reflection for the Knight of Pentacles. But just really focus on how things have been shaping. If there's any changes that need to be made, this is the time to do it. And if you get the Knight of Pentacles, it's related to a project. Again, this primarily rules Virgo. It's a time to maybe, keep working on the project, but kind of take a minute and reassess what's been done so far. You're still moving, you're using your mind, but you're applying your thoughts and reassessing everything on what's been created so far. That's a Knight of Pentacles. So next we're going into the Royal cards. King and Queen. Now the King and Queen, these royal cards have interesting personas because the reason why I say interesting, it's based more on their attributes. There are different interpretations of the King and Queen when it comes to them being either cardinal or fixed signs or possibly immutable. And I deviated back and forth with the King and Queen cards to determine which royal, referring to royals, is actually the fixed sign and which royal is actually the cardinal sign. Because I just want to sidetrack a little bit. Kings can be fixed. They have a responsibility of leadership. So does the Queen as well. The Queen has their responsibility of leadership. So the king and queen can actually both be fixed. Hi, Asha. The king and queen can both be fixed, but also they could both be cardinal ruled, because the king and queen, even though they are in rulership of, of their persona, if you will, they're also setting forth new ideas, and that can also be with the king and queen. Now, as we go through the elements of these royal cards, we are going to go through the attributes of cardinal, mutable, and fixed. So the best way that I can say for king and queen, understanding their attributes, is that when you're doing a reading, and if you have a reader who likes to give information as you're doing a reading, some do, some don't, and you pull these cards, you can start asking them the personality of the person, so you can get an idea if the person that's showing up in this reading could lean a little bit more on the fixed side or cardinal side, or possibly mutable. But for me, I think the king and queen are definitely either fixed or cardinal. That's just my interpretation. So let's move on. I'm already out into this. Our King of Wands. Let me show you here. So here we have the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the King of Wands, and then the Pagan Netherworlds version. Okay, see here with the Pagan Netherworlds, the King of Wands, we see him holding a lion. It's ruled by Leo, which is a fixed sign. Here, we don't see a lion. Well, we see it on the seat, on the throne of the King of Wands, but we also see the salamander. The salamander is a fire animal, but the salamander tends to fall in the direction of Aries, and Aries is a cardinal sign. So I wish I could say there is a set answer for this, but when you look at so many interpretations, especially with the King and Queen cards, and any signs that they put in to relate to the personality of the King and Queen, it could go almost either way. So that's something I want to talk about when I go into the King and Queen cards. When you see these cards, how do you feel about the King of Wands? Do you feel the King of Wands is fixed or cardinal? And when you look at your tarot deck, what do you see in your tarot deck? Do you see elements of the King of Wands where it could be more on the fixed side or more on the cardinal side? So the Astrological Decan for the King of Wands, let's go to my handy dandy chart, is, where are we, King of Wands? Here we go. It's following the same suit. It's in the last degree of the previous sign. So I have the King of Wands. The Golden Dawn system rules it from July 12th to August 11th. So that's basically 30 degrees of Cancer, the last week of Cancer, or the last week of July, which is where we are right now, going into Leo, which is August 11th. So I would say almost that the King of Wands for me would be ruled by Leo. But wait till we get to the Queen of Wands. It makes me think twice. So again, the astrological decan, since it falls primarily in line, this is the Golden Dawn system, it falls primarily in line during the time of Leo, and those dates are from July 21st, it's the month of Leo, to August 11th. But the Golden Dawn system has the King of Wands starting 23 degrees of the previous sign, which is Cancer. So it falls into the last week of Cancer, July 12th to the 21st, which we are in, as I mentioned, and follows all the way through to August 11th. So it picks up a little bit of the water energy as we're transitioning into fire. So if you want to use this for reference, we are now in the King of Wands week as we transition into Leo come next Tuesday. So moving along, we have our King of Cups. Different emotions we see in the pagan otherworlds. Moving a little closer, the King of Cups. The Rider-Waite-Smith, we see the King of Cups gentleman on a stone like in the middle of the ocean. I want to say this could be a boat here because there's a boat here. It looks like there's a sail up there. But the King of Cups in the pagan otherworld seems to be a little bit more emotional in his position. It's like he's sort of turning his shoulder up, away as the boat moves away or maybe towards him in the ocean. While the Rider-Waite-Smith, we see the King of Cups just steadfast and in control. I mean, you see King of Cups and we tend to see someone who's in control of their emotions, while here in the pagan otherworlds, this person's more emotional in the situation of where he is right now. So with the King of Cups, go here. So with the King of Cups, their rulership is, where are we, King of Cups? There we go. Again, we have to step 23 degrees to the previous sign. Our King of Cups starts, Golden Dawn correspondence starts October 13th. And it goes all the way to November 12th. And so since it's 23 degrees in Libra, which is the last week of the sign being in Libra, it falls primarily, the King of Cups falls primarily in the sign of Scorpio. So Pisces was our Knight of Cups. So would you say King of Cups could be our card of Scorpio? Or would you relate it more to Cancer? I would probably say that the King of Cups would be more of the Scorpio side. Oh, I'm sorry, would be more on the Cancer side. Because it's someone who is, not that the Queen of Cups is in control of her emotions, but the King of Cups is at a conscious level, having to be in control of their emotions, having to be firm, but also understanding and knowing how to talk to people and to listen and to give advice. This can almost be, the King of Cups can almost be the Hierophant of the water sign. So even though the astrological Decan, according to the Golden Dawn, states this as more Scorpio, I would want to lean more towards Cancer. I don't know how anyone here would feel about this. And I think also too, the judgment of female intuition would lean more on the queen side than on the male side. Men have intuition. The intuition that male energy has is something that I feel it can be natural, but it's also something that it's not with every man that they have that instinct, they know. But again, the King of Cups, I feel, is more of the protector. And that's why I would say I feel this would be more in line for Cancer, the King of Cups. I don't know how anyone feels about that. Okay. Right, we have our King of Swords. All right, so our King of Swords, you would think would fall along one of the air signs. It does. And here I'm going to ask the same question. I'm also going to apply it to the Queen Royal card. When we go through these elements, where do you see the card falling most influential from? So for the Queen of Swords, or the King of Swords, it falls 23 degrees into Capricorn. That's where it starts. It starts January 10th, goes all the way to February 8th. So we're right in the middle of winter at this time. And it's in the last week of Capricorn, January 10th to the 19th, but it falls primarily into the sign of Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, as we know, I'll show you the cards here. Pagan, other world's King of Swords is on my left side, your right. Here's the King of Swords, Rider-Waite-Smith. It's the use of the mind, the intellect. Here you are dictating your knowledge, your experience, everything that you've achieved. King of Swords is facing us in the right, in the Rider-Waite-Smith. Swords is firmly up, but slightly at an angle to show that it is slightly, well, it's being open. It's like, if I feel the sword was straight up almost in front of the face, it's almost like this person's not being open-minded entirely. But here the King of Swords is giving us the opportunity for them to listen. This on the Rider-Waite-Smith. In Pagan Otherworlds, we see something different. The sword slightly down. The person's gesturing outward with his left hand. It looks like he's holding the fingers of benediction. I'm not sure. Looks like 2 fingers are out and the thumb's out. I'm not sure. Almost indicating whatever this person says is word. Is the truth. It's someone that you can trust. So with our King of Swords, again, we fall into the last week of Capricorn, 23 degrees. But it primarily falls into the sign of Aquarius, according to the Golden Dawn. So for the King of Swords, would you relate the King of Swords to be more Aquarius or possibly Libra? Because our Knight card, our Knight of Swords, is through Gemini. The quick thinking, the the wittiness, very Mercury-oriented communication and stuff. So is this card, but Aquarius is, as we know, they're the rebels. They do things outside of the box. They're the visionaries. They're the ones that have that different perspective, that different way of seeing things. And I almost want to say this is more with Aquarius. But what doesn't that say that for the Queen of Swords, how that could also be Aquarius? How do we see the difference between the king and queen in these court cards when it comes to their element and their astrological signs? That's something I want to start talking about more when I bring up this topic again. Again, my next video will now cover the minor arcana, the aces through the tens and their elements. And then I'm going to end it with the major arcana. So I want to start with the more difficult series of cards in the tarot for a lot of people, the court cards, because people really feel a little apprehensive with it. And there's nothing to be apprehensive. These are just cards with people on them, representing different personalities and different energies and elements. Get to know them, welcome them. They're part of who we are. All these cards are the court cards. We have each of these attributes in us, or lacking. When we get the court cards, especially if there's a lot of court cards come in, there's a lot of outside energy that's telling us that we have to pay attention to some things here. Okay, so that's my question. King of Swords. Does it feel more in line with Aquarius or Libra? We're going to talk about Libra in the next one because I think we know who the Queen of Swords is, Golden Dawn-wise. So here we have King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles wearing a ram. Should be more bullish, but it's clearly a ram on his head. And that's for the Pagan Otherworlds. And here we have the King of Pentacles, basically camouflaged in abundance. He's sitting on his throne. He's holding the pentacle. He's holding his wand, and he's just enveloped in greenery. His castle's in the background. This person worked very hard. He knew how to utilize his knowledge, his energy, his emotions to create what he has. Here we have the King of Pentacles on the left side, your right, that is a little bit softer with his approach to abundance or understanding. He used a lot of energy on it. That's how I'm going to interpret this card. The King of Pentacles, using the energy of the ram, but being very steadfast and determined to accomplish what was needed. So with the King of Pentacles, astrologically, King of Pentacles, Pentacles rules the earth signs, Taurus, Capricorn, and I just forgot one. Taurus, oh my God, I just forgot this. Taurus, Capricorn, and I just drew a blank on my own earth signs. How funny. Virgo. There you go. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So our decan, astrological decan for the King of Pentacles would be, let's see here on my chart. Here we go. They go King of Discs here. This is, again, Golden Dawn system. It's in, this makes sense now for the King of Pentacles. I'll hold this up here. It's the Pagan Otherworlds card. Remember I mentioned the ram, top of his head. The King of Pentacles rules 20, 30 degrees of Aries, the last week of Aries, but it falls primarily into Taurus up to May 10th. So the king of Pentacles rules April 11th all the way to May 10th. So it rules the last 20, 30 degrees of Aries, which is the last week of Aries, April 11th to the 20th, but it primarily falls into Taurus, which is April 21st to May 20th. So that may explain possibly the influence of the ram. The ram on top of his head, the ram, I don't know what to call this, head shield. And the rest of it falls into Taurus. Virgo rules the Knight of Pentacles. So the question here is, does the King of Pentacles rule Capricorn or Taurus? Those two signs for the royal cards, the King and Queen, are a bit difficult for me to determine. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're doing a reading, you're getting the King of Pentacles, they need to get more information from it. Look how the other cards fall. See if there's signs that are indicating that this person could be more on the Taurian side or more on the capricious Capricorn side. I feel it can go either way because Capricorn and Taurus, they're both representing hardworking attributes of those two particular signs. I'm not saying Virgo isn't hardworking. They're analytical. So their earth-driven energy is more on the mind, which is ruled by Mercury for Virgo. So just to sidetrack a little bit, I feel a lot of these astrological signs, their attributes, they hold different energy. So as I mentioned, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. They think, they use a lot of thought to accomplish what they need to achieve in their material ways. Taurus is a fixed sign. Once they set their mind onto something, they go for it. They go straight ahead for it. They're very grounded. Capricorn is the cardinal sign. They're the initiators of getting these projects started. They're the first sign of winter solstice. They're the beginnings of winter solstice. And winter solstice is a time where you start thinking, you start planning towards things that you want to start showing come springtime. It's an internal time, but it's also time of where you're really focused on goals and how to plan these things out. But this is all towards the material realm, accomplishments. So again, King of Pentacles, do you see it more as Taurus or Capricorn? And again, when it comes to reading, just look at the cards that are around the layout or whatever style of reading that you're doing and see if it indicates it. If not, you may want to ask the current sitter a few questions that can maybe help you guide as to who this person is. Again, it could be a specific person, it could also be an aspect of who we are or who that person is. Alrighty, here we go. The Queens. So our Queen of Wands. Here we go. Using the pagan otherworlds, which is on my left, your right side, in comparison to the Rider-Waite-Smith. This is almost similar. Both have cats. We have the sunflower, which is of growth and abundance. We have the staff, the wand, being held on the left hand. Left hand represents feminine energy. No crown on the queen, on the pagan otherworlds. Rider-Waite-Smith has the crown. Okay, so here we go with queen. The queens here for the royals. The queens represent our inner side, our emotions, feminine nature, tendencies. The softer side. This is a complement to the king card. So when we have the Queen of Wands, I had mentioned this when I did the king cards. Well, let me first go to the Astrological Decan. The Astrological Decan, again, wands are ruled by Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And they share all the signs, astrological attributes of cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So with our Queen of Wands, we're going to fall more on the fiery side of the Decan, but we're going to fall on the preceding sign for our Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands rules March 11th to April 10th. From March 11th to the 20th, it rules Pisces. The rest of it falls into the sign of Aries. I'm going to move this a little closer for the pagan otherworld so you can see the detail. So how would you see the Queen of Wands? Would you see the Queen of Wands on the Aries side, according to the Golden Dawn? Aries are the initiators of, like I mentioned with Capricorn a little bit, but here they have a fiery direction when it comes to getting things started. They physically throw themselves into it. So how would we interpret the Queen of Wands when it comes to this Astrological Decan? Do you feel it's more on the Aries side? Or could it also be the Leo side? The only card that indicates the energy of the lion, and this is similar, actually I want to go back to the King of Wands with this, because I think they're on the same throne. 1 second. Let's see here. Bear with me here one moment. Yeah, similar. Both of their thrones, the king and queen, show lions. This is in the Rider-Waite-Smith, but again, as I mentioned, with the King of Wands, we have the salamander. Salamander is a fiery creature and relates to Aries. Here we have the cat. The cat is of the intuitive nature. Using her experience as a queen, using her energy to set forth her ideas, to completing things. Here's our Queen of Wands. So I almost want to say Queen of Wands would be more on the Leo side. But in both cards, I'm just saying pictorially and also image-wise, there's nothing showcasing that this could also be Aries. I would probably say Queen of Wands would be more on the Leo side. Leo, lion energy is gentle of the heart. Softer, very sensitive too, with the heart. They are courageous. They have vitality. They have that energy. And again, our Queen of Wands, according to the Golden Dawn, it's March 11th all the way to April 20th. So it falls with the last sign of Pisces, which is March 11th to the 20th, and that's 20 to 30 degrees of Pisces. The rest of the sign, or the rest of the suit, the Queen of Wands, falls in line with Aries. And that's from March 21st all the way to April 20th or 21st, again, depending on what year the sun is in that position during that sun sign. So yeah, feel when you look at your cards, especially the court cards, the king and queen, see how those elements relate to each other and their signs. Next up is our Queen of Cups. Now, Pisces is our Knight of Cups. And again, as I mentioned with the King of Cups, do we feel the Queen of Cups as Scorpio or Cancer? And the reason why I choose Cancer or Scorpio is that the royal cards, the King and Queen, could either be fixed or cardinal signs. The fixed sign for Cups, water sign, is Scorpio. The cardinal sign for Cups, water, is Cancer. I almost want to say the Queen of Cups is probably here maybe more Scorpio. And our King of Cups is more the Cancer. Has that shell. King of Cups has that shell to protect himself. Cancers tend to have like a stone face, but emotionally they have so much going on, they just don't release it. They're reserved. Queen of Cups, I lean more with Scorpio. Scorpio can also be very mysterious to themselves as well, because emotionally that's how they're interacting with themselves and with others. They emotionally feel things. Unlike sword signs, like Libra, Aquarius, they feel from here. They don't feel from here first. This is second, this is first. And with the cups, it's the heart first and then the mind. It's the balance between the two. So again, with our Queen of Cups, it's actually showing that the Queen of Cups is the last sign of Gemini, last week, June 11th to the 20th. That's 30 degrees in Gemini, but primarily it's ruled by Cancer. This is the Golden Dawn association of the tarot, which is primarily, it makes sense when I'm working with the Thoth deck. I decided not to bring out the Thoth deck because I wanted to simplify this and make it easy for people that if they want to bring in astrological aspects, that they can relate it to the Rider-Waite-Smith influence decks, just to make it a little bit easier. But when we go into the minor arcanas, we're going to start infusing planets and their signs related to the tarot cards. So that's going to be a comprehensive video. that I will probably have to break up into two. So again, the Queen of Cups. How do we feel? Do we feel this is more Scorpio? Or do we feel that this could be related more to Cancer? For me, I almost want to say, as I mentioned already, I feel like the Queen of Cups could be Scorpio. Again, if you're doing a reading, let the other cards speak to you and determine if the situation of that person, or you're trying to get more information about the person that the reading is about. See if the sign falls more with the fixed sign of Scorpio or the cardinal sign of Cancer. And again, you could take into account the date. If there's a situation where there's a date involved, if it falls in line with either Scorpio or Cancer, that could be another clarity for you when interpreting those cards. Okay, Queen of Swords, we're almost done. Okay, as I mentioned with the Queen of Swords, the King of Swords fell between, wow, the light's really popping in, fell between Capricorn and Aquarius. Here's our Queen of Swords. Take another words on my right, your left. On your right, Await Smith. On your left. On my left, your right. Both facing the same directions. A sword. It's both held up straight up. This is a challenging card because the Queen deals with feelings and intuition, and the Swords is all primarily of the mind, the intellect, telling the truth. So when we have the Queen of Swords, and the sword is their tool that is used to cut through distractions or whatnot, the Queen of Swords will be of truth. It will be using its reasoning, its intellect. It will make its decision based on logic, not on emotions. So with our Queen, let's see here, our Queen of Swords, where are we here? This almost makes sense because this falls into the 20-30 degree of Libra, or I'm sorry, of Virgo, which is September 12th to the 22nd. And that's taking us into the season of fall, autumn. I'll move back here. And then it falls primarily into Libra. So the Astrological Decan for the Queen of Swords runs September 12th to October 12th into Libra. This is the Golden Dawn. Move back here. How do we feel? Do we feel the Queen of Swords is more Libra or Aquarius? And Virgo, since Virgo and Libra's ruled by Venus, but Virgo is ruled by Mercury. This is a hard card for me to determine. I mean, our Knight of Swords is Virgo. It's a mutable sign. But for our Queen of Swords, is it cardinal for Libra? Or is it fixed for Aquarius? The thinking. I attributed the King of Swords to be more in line with Aquarius, the revolutionary, the radical thinker, the visionary. And again, this isn't to say that the Queen of Swords isn't like that. But here, The Queen of Swords is using fully the mind, getting, just really getting straight to the point with things. In Libra, it's fun because it is ruled by Venus. I don't see any of those attributes for the Queen of Swords with Libra. I almost want to say the Queen of Swords could fall in line with Gemini because of the thinking, but Gemini is the Knight of Swords for that, because it involves that movement and the quick thinking. So it's something to consider when you're looking at your core cards in relation to the astrology signs and their decans. Where do they fall in? Where do you feel best that these court cards can relate to each other? Again, Queen of Swords. I'll show the cards here again. They tend to be cold in their way of thinking, and they just tell it like it is. And I appreciate that because it just gets right to the point and eliminates everything. I just like to know what's going on. So I like when I meet someone who is like this, they just tell you what it is, It's either going to be red or green or stop or go, whatever. So, is this Libra or Aquarius? How do you feel? In our last card, Queen of Pentacles. Taking other worlds on my right. And the Rider-Waite-Smith. And the headdress on the Queen of Pentacles is kind of hard to say. It has bullish horns. But it could also look like a Capricorn. It could look like that ram. The Capricorn animal looks like a little bit like a ram, but smaller. And then here, let me go back here, the Rider-Waite-Smith. There's no indication. We have the rabbits, but there's no indication. Got to pull back here. Of an animal influence for this. So I'm going to put the Rider-Waite-Smith card down. So our Queen of Pentacles. Pull back here. The Golden Dawn. Attributes relate this starting December 13th and going into January 9th, into the sign of Capricorn. Sagittarius, 23 degrees, December 13th to the 21st. Right at the start of the winter solstice, which starts in the sign of Capricorn, Earth sign. And again, the date for this card, the Queen of Pentacles, December 13th, going to January 9th. So what we see the Queen of Pentacles falling more on the Capricorn side or the Taurus side. Can't move the card in too close. But again, the Queen of Pentacles represents work that has been done and maintaining it and having pride, of course, in what you've worked hard in. But it's a sign of accomplishing something that is of great importance, of great value to you. And the steps that you've gone through to get to where that is. It's more nurturing. And that's, I don't know, again, for the Queen of Pentacles, but we see this as Capricorn or Taurus. Our Knight of Pentacles is Virgo. But for the King and Queen, we have Capricorn or Taurus. So again, how would you see those signs? Would the Queen of Pentacles be Taurus? Or do you feel it's more in the cardinal way, Capricorn? Again, Capricorn is ruled through the winter months. And here we're ending with the 23 degrees in Sagittarius of the Astrological Decan, which is, oops, I'm gonna move it this way. Oh, I just lost it. Hang on here, October, November, December, here we go. December 13th to the 21st is ruled by Sagittarius. The last week of that sign, 23 degrees, and then the rest of the sign into January 9th is ruled by Capricorn. And there's our card there. I can't even show it to you. My bay windows are just flooding with light right now. So that's it. That's our walkthrough through the court cards from our pages that represent the seasons of the Astrological Decan. We have the pages, let's see here. We have the Page of Wands, which represents the summer months. Page of Cups, which represents the fall months. I can't even show you this. It's Page of Cups. Our Page of Swords. Let's see here, Page of Swords, which runs from winter into spring, which we think is different, but this is the Golden Dawn association. And then we have our Page of Pentacles, which is from spring, April 11th to May 10th. I do have the right one, yes. Well, I'm sorry, from March 21st to June 20th. So this represents our Page of Pentacles, represents our spring through summer months. Okay. The pages represent our seasons. The knights represent the action. The knights, I'm going to write this all down and post it in the link. I also have a link to my website where I break down the astrological signs, so it's not, this video doesn't continue much longer. So the knights represent the energy of the attributes, and the astrological signs start moving more into, instead of a large range of seasons, it represents certain months. And then our King and Queens represents a smaller time frame of astrology, the decans, in relation to their elements. So that's it. This is part one. This was the astrological signs and decans relating to the court cards in the tarot. Next event that I will be doing will be astrological signs, the decans, in relation to the minor arcana. And that's going to be a long one. I may have to break that up into two parts. And then I'm going to end it with the major arcana and go through those cards and discuss the astrological signs and their associating decans. It's very complex. Thank you, Asha. Thank you for sitting through this. It's a lot of information, but I wanted to make it very easy as possible for those who are interested in infusing certain aspects of astrology based on the signs and their placements within the months and the seasons of the year. So I'll put more information for the details of this video, like the dates. I'm going to give you links that you can look at. And I'm going to timestamp this because this video is almost 2 hours long. And you can feel free to go and look through the pages, the knights, the kings and queens, and pull whatever information you have from it. So thank you for joining. I don't know when I'm going to post the next video. I'll try and work on it this week. It's going to be live. It just makes it so much easier for me. And then I'll just edit through and put timestamps on everything. So to reach me, any questions, you can reach me via my website, www.themysticrosetarot.com. On Instagram, it's The Mystic Rose Tarot. And then, of course, here on YouTube, The Mystic Rose Tarot. Thank you, everyone. Any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. Feel free to reference this to other people. Have a beautiful weekend. We are heading into the new moon in Cancer on Monday. So take advantage of this time if you need to do any moon energy work, any healing, because we are done with the water element. We're going to start moving into fiery Leo come next Tuesday. So everything's going to be shifting into more of a creative realm and more life, more energy, hopefully, for everyone. Have a wonderful week. I will be in touch again, maybe this week. All right. Have a great one, everyone. Bye-bye.